All right, we promised you some insights into Skye Bank's results. We're now joined from Lagos, Kunle Adedigba. Thank you so much for your time, Kunle. Let's start off with your gross earnings. We saw quite a nice increase there, around 21% from the first quarter to the second quarter. Give us your view, and where are we really starting to see things recover for your bank?
Well, things have started, thank you very much. Things have started to recover already. As you mentioned, there was a very healthy growth between Q1 and Q2 in gross earnings, driven by increases in volume of fixed income activities, increase in returns based on the volume of interbank trades that we've also had. So, and then we've also seen this 5% increase in total loans and advances. And we expect that this quarter as well, as in Q3, there will be further growth in loans and advances. So I think the recovery has started. Some of the initiatives that the central bank came up with in the second quarter regards refinancing and giving access to manufacturers and SMEs has started to yield fruits. So I believe the recovery has started.
Well, just looking at your deposit ratio to the likes of the loans, we know that it's sitting at around 72.9%, and we know the mandatory requirement is around 80%, so you could be lending a whole lot more. What is your strategy going forward?
Well, going forward, the strategy is to up-tier. We want to, compared to, in view of some of the challenges that we've had in the past, especially last year, we are trying to have a much safer lending portfolio, and that has reflected in a 5% growth in the last quarter. We also project a 5% growth, but largely you're up-tiering, you're trying to do safer credits, you have a much more stringent risk management process in place. So we'll up-tier. It's likely that there might be some pressure on earnings as a result of that, but that should be offset by the gains we're likely to make from the repricing of the deposit portfolio.
Yeah, carry on.
So in a nutshell, yes, 5% growth in Q3 on loans. We will up-tier a safer portfolio of credits. There'll be some pressure on earnings, and we think that will be offset by some of the gains that we've made in the repricing of the deposit portfolio.
Looking at rescued banks in Nigeria, obviously it's quite a hot topic. What is your strategy with regards to this? Are you looking at any of the rescued banks at this point in time? And of course, just give us your view on your debt or equity capital at this point in time, and what changes you plan to see going forward.
Well, we think that there are opportunities for organic growth in this market, and the decision has been taken is to focus on that for the next 2 years. So it's unlikely that we'll be getting involved with any of the rescued banks. In terms of capital, yes, a fair amount of capital will be raised, sometimes in Q3, probably at between 10 and 15% of existing capital levels. And then sometimes next year, we expect to do a debt raise. So it is unlikely that we'll be acquiring any of the rescued banks, but definitely we'll be raising some capital to fund some of the growth opportunities that we see in our industry.
Very quickly, Kunle, just looking at your customer strategy going forward and how that fares versus your corporate strategy, give us some insights.
Well, a number of things. One, on the asset side, to up-tier, have a much safer loan portfolio. On the cost side, in view of the pressure on earnings, we're going to focus on reducing a number of our costs, from staff costs, operating expenses, cash handling expenses. So the objective is to ensure that we have this tidy net interest margin, and then we'll continue to work down the cost to income ratios. And at the end of the day, we think that will provide enough profits to make the ROEs quite competitive.
Kunle, thank you very much for your time today. Unfortunately, that's where we have to leave it. That was Kunle Adedigba from Skye Bank.